Namaste, welcome to my channel and welcome to my backyard. My name is Cassandra and I'm going to take you through this full body practice. This is truly strength oriented, but of course I never neglect a good stretch. At the end, we're really going to get into our hips and hamstrings, but I wanted the emphasis of this practice to be on cultivating endurance and also doing some conditioning overall. So a nice emphasis on our core strength, into our glutes, into our quads, also into our shoulders and our arms. Even though it might be easy for you to just write this off as a physical workout, I truly do believe that this is a mental workout more than anything else. So while you are practicing, regardless of what sensations are happening in your body, notice what your train of thought is like, what your internal dialogue sounds like. This is really what we want to work on. Yoga is all about cultivating awareness and mindfulness in the present moment. So observe this inner critic, observe those inner thoughts, and really pay attention to how your body is feeling. So know when to take a break if it's too much, and at the same time, also know when you're holding yourself back. Okay, you will need 2 blocks for this practice, and I would say it is mostly intermediate in level. Beginners are welcome to try it out. There might just be a few poses that you need to leave out, but just a good intermediate flow. Okay, enough talking for now. Let's begin in Balasana, Child's Pose. So just a nice stretch for the inner thighs and inner groin. First pose for us to get grounded and centered. Toes together, knees as wide as you would like them to be. Fold all the way forward. And I'll be using my blocks specifically for a few poses towards the end of our practice. But if at any time you want to grab them to make a pose a little bit more accessible, for example, right now, you could place it under your chest, under your forehead, under your hips. Really learn to make this your own. Try to let go of judgment, let go of expectation. Simply find your breath in and out through your nose. And walk your hands in so you can lift yourself up. We'll do a modified child's pose. So I want you to bring your knees hip width distance apart, and instead of having your toes together, you can just also keep your feet hip width distance apart. So stretch your arms out in front of you. We're going to inhale, coming all the way forward into this modified plank position. So I'm lowering my hips down. Take a little push up and press all the way back into this child's pose. And we're going to do 10 of these. So inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale back. Keep going. So of course, if 10 is too many, you really don't need to go all the way there, but just notice that internal dialogue. When you feel like giving up or quitting, usually our breath is the first thing to go. So keep it controlled and mindful. Elbows stay hugging in, close to the rib cage. Not gonna lie, I've lost count. I think we have 3 more. I'll fix it in the editing. Should be feeling it. Our last one here. Inhale, exhale, inhale, and press it all the way back. Give yourself a moment here just to press your hands together And bend your elbows, bringing your thumbs towards the back of your neck. Should feel nice in your triceps. Although some people just don't feel this stretch, totally fine if there's not much sensation for you here. Warming up our shoulders and our arms. Let's come back, tabletop pose on hands and knees. Finding thread the needle, make sure your palms are under your shoulders, knees are underneath your hips. You're gonna reach your right arm up to the sky, open up, and then thread it through, shoulder and ear lower down to the floor. Now we're gonna add a leg lift here, so I recommend keeping your left hand where you have it. Maybe this is enough. If you'd like to challenge yourself, you're going to straighten your left leg, keep an internal hip rotation, and see if that left leg can lift off the ground. The internal hip rotation is what's going to prevent you from rolling over. Really squeeze into your glutes and draw from your lower abdominals. Shaking is normal. One more breath. And let's bring that left knee back down. Slowly push and re-extend your right arm up. Tabletop pose. Let's go to the second side. Inhale. Exhale. So I'm going to keep my right hand where I have it. And now the right leg straightens. Keep an internal hip rotation as you lift that right leg up. And an internal rotation means that I really want my hip bone, the front of my thigh, my kneecap, the front of my shin, and the top of my foot to be facing towards the mat, not to be opening up towards the side of whatever room you're in. One more big breath. And let's carefully plant that right knee down. Come on up, left arm rises. And back to your tabletop pose. Let's tuck our toes under. We're just gonna stretch into the wrists. Might as well also stretch into our feet at the same time. So sitting on your heels with your toes curled under. I like to just bring my thumbs to the inside of the palms, 4 fingers over top, and just take a few wrist circles here or half circles. And go ahead and bring your right hand out, flex through the fingers, and you can pull back with your left hand. Keep trying to open up that thumb. Shake it out. Other hand. And shake it out. Let's come back into our tabletop pose. Super strong through your core here. You can come up onto your right fingertips, flex through your right foot, and you're gonna lift that leg up all the way. Option 1 is to keep the knee bent. If you wanna make this harder, you're going to point through your toes and open that leg up all the way. And we're gonna tap the toes down and lift them up 10 times. So 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go ahead and lower that leg all the way and lift on up for your gait pose. Left arm reaches all the way up and over. Big side body stretch. Into your baby wild thing. Counter stretch. Left hand goes to the side. Right arm reaches up and over. Tabletop pose. Let's find that on the other side. So realign your stance and then maybe come up onto your left fingertips. I just find this gives me more space, especially in the hip. You're going to lift that left leg up. I'm keeping my knee in line with my hip, maybe pointing the toes and straightening the leg. And we're gonna tap down and up. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and drop it down, lift on up, gait pose. Right arm extends all the way up and over. Baby wild thing, right hand down, swing that left arm up and back. Tabletop, transitioning into our first downward dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Walk your hands forward, tuck the toes under, lift up and back. Make any movements that you need here in your downward dog. Make sure you can push into your fingertips and knuckles. And let's all lift our heels up as high as they can go, so you're on the balls of the feet, and bend your knees a lot, reaching your chest towards your thighs, maybe making contact. And now straighten the legs and drop the heels down. I'm going to do the left side first. We'll do left side sequence. It'll just be easier for you to see what I'm doing. Reach your left leg up to the sky, and you can bend your knee and open your hip if that feels good for you here. Exhale, tap your left knee towards your left shoulder. Come forward. Shoulders are over your wrists. Drop the left knee to your left wrist. Right wrist, right shoulder, left shoulder. One more. Left wrist, right shoulder, left shoulder. Laying triangle, roll to the inner edge of your right foot. Straighten and drop that left leg. Reach your right arm up. You can really push into the feet here in order to lift up. Big breath. Vinyasa, plank, lower, upward dog, downward facing dog. Lift your heels as high as they can go. Bend your knees as much as you can. Bring your belly to your thighs. Straighten your legs, drop your heels, right leg up, bend your knee, open up through that hip. Let's bring our right knee to our right shoulder. Bring that weight forward, keep your hips low. Right wrist, left shoulder, right shoulder. Right wrist, left shoulder, right shoulder. Laying triangle. Pivot, straighten your right leg, reach your left arm up. Push down into your right hand, push down into both feet. The sole of your left foot should be flat to the floor, and you're on the edge of your right foot. Vinyasa. Downward facing dog. And let's bring our knees down to the mat. Take a moment, just sitting here. One hand over the other. Pause. Slowing down your heart rate, slowing down your breath. Notice your internal dialogue. All right, breaks over, back into our downward facing dog. We're just here to transition. Walk your feet to the top of the mat. Fold on down. And bend your knees generously so you can roll all the way up to stand inch by inch. So we're gonna open our legs up quite wide. We're gonna be doing pulses from warrior two to goddess. So it's gonna go warrior two, goddess, warrior two, and goddess. And we're gonna do that quite a few times. So get your legs out quite wide. Warrior two, you'll begin. Left foot is pointing forward to the top of the mat. Left knee is bent. As I'm inhaling, I'm turning so that both heels are in, toes are out, sinking down low with both knees bent, and then pivoting to the back. Warrior two to the second side. And let's keep going. Goddess, warrior two. Center, to the right. Keep going. You might want to close your eyes here. I like to inhale on the warrior two, exhale at center. You'll feel it in your quads. Stay low. Try to never straighten your legs or lift on up to stand. Not here forever, I promise. Last round. Left, center, right, center. Hold here, just pulse. You can do this. Slow down your breathing. Pulsing 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Whew, I should feel good. Turn both feet in so they're parallel to the short edges of your mat. We'll just take a wide-legged forward fold. Inhale, open up, and release it down. Any arm variation that you want here. And walk your hands out in front of you a little bit, and you can just toe heel your feet a little closer and just come down to sit. Grab a hold of your blocks. Our last little bit of strength, I promise, before we really cool down and stretch everything out. So you'll need both blocks on their lowest level beside you, beside your hips, with your feet out in front of you, flat to the floor. You want to be able to push your hands into the blocks and push your feet into the floor. We're going to inhale into our reverse tabletop pose and exhale by sending our hips back and pushing into the blocks as much as we can. 10 of these. Inhale and exhale. 8 more. Three, 2, and 1. Sending it back and let it go. Great job. You can move your props behind you. We're going to do supported fish closer to the end of the practice. Let's stretch our quads first. Bend your right knee. You want the top of your foot to be pressing down on the mat. I like to have my calf on the outside of the thigh, both thighs parallel. You can lift, scoop your tailbone under until you get a nice stretch here, and walk your hands back as much as you want. Because we have our blocks here, you can also just lay down on your props, but we're not here very long. Five more slow breaths here. Feeling the effects of that pretty strong practice. Let's push to lift on up. Before we do the other side, you're going to cross your right leg over the left. A half shoelace pose. You're trying to align your right knee over the left one and bring that right foot in close towards the glute. You should feel it on the back of that left leg. And you might walk your hands forward and fold. Totally normal if you're not going super far in this one. I know for me, this is personally one of the poses I consider to be the most challenging. Ardha Gomukhasana. And lift on up. And let's find our quad stretch, our half hero pose on the other side. Bring that left heel in. Make sure the top of that foot is planted to the mat. You can lift and tuck under before lowering any amount. If you're already feeling it or this is just not working out for your knees, you can stay up, maybe do a butterfly stretch instead, or anything else that would feel good for you right now. Three more breaths in the pose. And come on up, nice and slow. Cross so that you have your left knee stacked as much as possible over the top of that right one, with your left foot in pretty close to that outer hip, and fold down any amount. And I'm making this a very passive forward fold, letting my spine round. I'm not pushing or pulling or trying to force myself lower. We're trying to cool down so we are not chasing sensation. Nothing to prove. No judgments, no expectations. Come on up. Now grabbing your blocks, we're going to take our supported fish pose with reclined butterfly with our legs. Supta Baddha Konasana. I like to have the blocks on their second height. First one in between the shoulder blades and the upper back. Second block supports the head. And if you want to take your hip opener, soles of the feet come together to touch. Knees fall apart. And you might keep your arms by your sides. You can reach them up overhead. Any arm variation that you want here. 10 deep breaths. And from here, we're going to lay flat on our backs. So however you'd like to get there, straighten your legs. Just move to your props to the side. We won't be using them. One last pose before Shavasana. Let's take reclined pigeon. Cross your right ankle over the top of your left knee and pull through. Big squeeze and release. And we'll switch sides, left ankle over the top of that right thigh. Pull it in. And big squeeze here. And we'll make our way to Shavasana, our final resting pose. Get comfortable. Taking a few minutes here to release, relax, and fully integrate your practice. Let's wake up. Deeper breaths, little movements. And you can roll to one side, press and lift up. Take a seat. Hands join at the front of your heart. What can you take from this practice? What do you want to further integrate? Let's close with the chant of Om. Inhale to chant. Big breath in. Namaste. Thank you so very much for doing this practice with me. I would love to know how it went. I know the strength portion was definitely strong. I'm sure I will feel it for the rest of the day, but it's good to do conditioning like this every now and again, not just physically, but also as like a mental check-in and a mental challenge. Leave me a comment below, and if you don't already subscribe to my channel, please do, as a way to support free yoga on the internet. Thank you again. Have a wonderful day. Namaste.